The good teams get better and the bad teams somehow get worse in college football this week. Week 6 in the books, and we are heading towards a hot fire week 7. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the From the Student Section podcast. Week 7 edition, because I don't know what episode it is anymore. I've lost count. We've done so many of these things. With me, as always, Austin Wiggers. What's up, buddy? How are you today?
What up, man? I'm doing good.
Good deal. I'm not even going to give the spiel. You guys know. Find me on podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from. Like and subscribe down below. You guys don't want to hear about all of that. You want to hear about college football because that's what you're all here for. That's what we're here to talk about. And we got a lot to talk about in week 6. But even then, we don't have a lot to talk about in week 6 because week 6 felt like a pretty chill week. There are a couple games we'll focus on for a while, but a lot of games we'll just skim through because the good teams won like we expected them to. But we're going to jump right in here to week 6, and we're going to talk about the game that this team needed to have and needed to come out strong in, and that is Georgia Bulldogs versus the Auburn Tigers. Georgia absolutely needed a statement win and a statement game to come out here and say, hey, don't forget about us. We're still here. We're still doing well, and we're ready to roll. So Georgia beats Auburn 42-10. Just an overall very balanced game for Georgia. Stetson Bennett did his thing, had a huge rushing touchdown, a 64-yard rushing touchdown. So that was awesome for him. Edwards had 3 touchdowns, and Branson Robinson had 1. No receiving touchdowns for Georgia, but they honestly didn't need it in this game. Bit of a slow start again for both teams, but Georgia always had the lead and never gave it up in this game. Huge fourth quarter for them. But yeah, Auburn not great, but even then, this is the deep, they call this the Deep South's oldest rivalry, and it definitely is that. So Auburn always gives them a good game. So for Georgia to come out here and do this and win by 32, it's exactly what they needed to do. And when we talk about the rankings, we'll see why. So not a lot else to say about this one. Georgia moves to 6-0, baby.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. Pretty average game overall. Good job for Georgia to get a big win, against a pretty average opponent. The only thing I would say that's a little disappointing is Stetson Bennett's play in terms of his passing. He did good. He had 208 yards, was 22 of 32, but didn't have any passing touchdowns. Now, like you said earlier, they didn't really need it. Their rushing attack was just absolutely lethal. But, with how good of a quarterback Stetson Bennett is, it would have been nice to see him at least get one throwing touchdown. But, hey, he played a good game, and either way, Georgia came out on top. So props to them.
Did you see his rushing touchdown that he had? Did you see the highlight of that play anywhere?
I did not.
So, okay. So I'll go ahead and describe it for you, right? This was his 64 yards on 3 rushes. That was all on one attempt. Like, that was the one attempt. Man's like ran through the line, and this dude looked like the fastest quarterback I've ever seen, and that's not an understatement either. He was moving, he was hauling, and he just sprinted right down through and scored a big touchdown. So that was awesome to see from him.
That's crazy.
I know. It was very insane. I don't know why my computer's freaking out right now. But we're going to keep going and hope that it sticks around and we don't die. So moving on to the next game. I'm not going to talk long about this one. Ohio State continues doing very Ohio State things. CJ Stroud continues to make his push for Heisman. 6 touchdowns, 1 interception here. Wow, my computer just glitched hardcore there, but we're all good. 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 361 yards for CJ Stroud. 3 touchdowns, of course, going to Marvin Harrison Jr. Both of these guys are going to be beasts in the NFL. But one thing I will say, a lot of quarterbacks struggle. The majority of really, really good college quarterbacks do tend to struggle a little bit going into the NFL. That's a really tough transition. I think receivers, in terms of the switch, do a lot better and stay a lot more consistent. So for Marvin Harrison Jr., I think if he transitions to the NFL, he will be really good out of the gate. Whereas CJ Stroud may need a couple years to develop behind an experienced quarterback, or like a Trevor Lawrence, where he goes out there, just kind of has a couple rough years, but starts to show signs of being really good, and then he'll just be an elite quarterback, which we'll see going forward. But yeah, Ohio State should be the number 1 team in the nation, still isn't. I don't know why. Continuing to disrespect on Ohio State, but yeah, 49-20 win on the road against a bad Michigan State team. Michigan State, you guys overpaid for Mel Tucker, baby. This is what I expected out of Michigan State last year. It's just a delayed year. So
Yep. Yeah, nothing else to say on this one. Props to Ohio State for doing good, but the slander is so real against them. I hate Ohio State, and I would love nothing more than for them to just absolutely suck. But
Yeah.
I mean, they don't. They're an amazing team, and the fact that they're not number one, it's kind of sad. They should be number one. Georgia should be number two, which Georgia is. But that's got to be your top two. I'd even put, if you want to be kind of in the middle ground, I would be willing to even like say Ohio State could be two, but I think that's the bare minimum. I think they got to be one though.
Well, and I think, and we'll talk about, you haven't seen the new rankings, so we'll talk about that when we get to there. Clemson beats Boston College 31-3. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Clemson's still here, still elite. We're going to move on from there. Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. Oklahoma State survives a really, really tough test from Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
This was close throughout. This was a battle all the way. But Spencer Sanders gets his team together, leads the charge, 297 and a passing touchdown, and then, of course, 2 rushing touchdowns for him. This is your team to beat in the Big 12 right now, and they've got and this week, they play the other team to beat in the Big 12, which is TCU. That is the game coming up this week. I think that's a sleeper for game of the week. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. But, yeah, Oklahoma State is rolling, and their toughest test is this week, and we'll see how they do. But, yeah, Oklahoma State showing no signs of slowing down.
I mean, look at that first quarter. It was 17-14. Like,
yeah.
both these teams were firing on all cylinders.
It's the Big 12 game for you.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Baron Morton, 39 of 62 with 379 yards. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Baron Morton for Texas Tech, just throwing up 62 passes there. Like, those are Josh Allen type numbers at this point. Like, they're going insane. So, yeah, Oklahoma State continues their roll. Tennessee and LSU. Tennessee is here and here to stay. They are elite. I'm willing to admit that now. I would have loved to be one of those people that was like, look at Tennessee and Texas. They both suck this year, like they always do. But no, Tennessee's here. They're here to stay. The 40-13 trouncing of LSU in Death Valley. Hendon Hooker, 239 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, Tennessee gets Alabama this week, and I would be real scared if I was Alabama right now, especially with how you played this week.
Mm-hmm.
Anything major to note? Brew McCoy, shout out to you. 7 receptions for 140 yards for Tennessee this week. Didn't have any of the touchdowns, but I mean, hey, if you're moving the ball that well for your team, you don't need them. But yeah, this was a really, really strong performance from Tennessee and sets them up really, really well going into Alabama this week. So I'd be really excited. If I'm a Tennessee fan, this is your proving ground right here. Tennessee, as you can see there, 502 total yards of offense, no turnovers, 27 first downs. They did have 12 penalties for 107 yards. So that's going to be something that will be the difference maker in the Alabama game because both teams seem to be prone to getting penalties right now. So if they can shore that up this week, I think we're looking at Tennessee beating Alabama. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I wait for my thing to load because my computer's being slow, as it always is. We know this already. Who's up next? Oregon. Bo Nix is just having a laugh at this point. Like, you thought I was washed against Georgia? Well, no, I'm just the best ever. Man's ran for 3 touchdowns again. Like Bo Nix just scores like 3 touchdowns himself and is like, yeah, we're good. We won. We got this.
Yep.
Yeah, Oregon's just ridiculous right now. So 5-0 since Georgia. So we're going to say that game didn't happen. Oregon's 5-0 basically. So who cares? It's fine. Texas A&M and Alabama. All right, Alabama, you did everything you could to hand this game to Texas A&M, and that is going to kill you next week against Tennessee. I don't know if you watched the end of this game, but I watched the last 2 minutes of this game.
Yeah.
And Alabama had that holding penalty that gave Texas A&M the first down. They had that pass interference in the end zone penalty that got Texas A&M to the 2-yard line. There's a lot of debate about the Texas A&M play call at the end there to throw it to the guy in the corner of the front of the end zone. My only stance on that is I don't think the play call was bad. It was just the execution by the quarterback and the man he chose to target was not the best executed. As for Alabama, guys, You should be happy to walk out here with a win, and you barely did that. So I'm going to be praying for the Alabama players because Saban is going to be on their ass this week. I'm just going to say that right now. He is going to be pissed off in practice, and that will be something to watch. But something else to watch for Alabama, Jalen Milroe. He's very clearly going to be the starter after Bryce Young leaves, I would at least guess. But this man is huge. He is built. He had 3 touchdowns. He can run the ball. Like, we shouldn't be surprised. Alabama has a backup that's good. What? That's so crazy. But Milroe looks like the real deal, and he will be a stud coming into next year if Bryce Young decides to leave.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't think a lot else to say here about this one. A&M, I feel really bad for you guys. You had this one, and you just couldn't execute at the end. But yeah, I mean, heck, Texas A&M had more penalties than Alabama, and Alabama still almost lost this game. It's these 4 turnovers that are really going to hurt. That's the difference maker right there. 4 turnovers. Can't be doing that against a good Tennessee team coming up this week, Alabama. And I don't want you guys to misinterpret this. I don't want Alabama to win. All right. I'm just sitting here as an analyst being like, hey, Bama, you got the best team in the SEC arguably right now coming up next week. Be careful. Okay.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Let's see. What else we got here? Michigan and Indiana. Michigan gets the win here. I do want to touch on this game a little bit because the story of this podcast the last couple of weeks has been following Michigan and their road to the Big Ten title and the college football playoff and how they're performing. I would still be concerned if I was a Michigan fan because here's why. Michigan looked better last week against Iowa than they did this week against Indiana. Now, you can attribute that to the coach for Michigan that collapsed on the sideline and they were all shook up by that. You can attribute it to that if you want to. I'd be willing to give it a pass. But even then, like that happened against IU. It's sad that it happened anyway. It did. Like I don't want to discount that. And my prayers go out to him and his family. Hope he's doing well now. What was it, Coach Hart? I think it was for Michigan.
Yeah, Coach Hart.
But if this happened in like an Ohio State game or something, like there isn't any time to mess around and try and clear your head and go back into the game. Like you're lucky you played Indiana, who is a tough team, who gave you a tough game. This was a 7-point game going into the 4th quarter, Michigan, and you barely squeaked away with the win. You're getting those 2 touchdowns at the end, but this was your week. I'm scared for you against Penn State next week. I got to be honest. I don't think you're going to beat Penn State playing like you did this week. If you're playing to the top of your level, absolutely you can beat Penn State. But Penn State's had an off week. They had the bye last week. They're coming in. They've got an extra week to prepare. They're ready to go. Are you guys ready to go as well?
Yeah. I see your point, but honestly, I think I'm going to have to disagree. And I'll get a little bit more into this when we do our game picks. I think that obviously Michigan did not play their strongest game. And obviously it's not the best opponent they're going to face. So I think they should have done better. Like I'll agree with you on that point. However, I mean, J.J. McCarthy's still doing good, had 304 yards with 3 touchdowns. Blake Corum is still popping off, 25 carries for 124 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, Ronnie Bell absolutely killing it, 11 receptions, 121 yards. Like, I think this Michigan team is really good. And while I agree they might not be playing exactly to their level, I think that with them being at home, despite the fact that Penn State has a week off, I think that Michigan is just a better team. And in my opinion, if you're a Michigan fan, you shouldn't be worried yet. I think it's a little too early to worry, in my opinion.
Fair enough. I see where you're coming from, but even then, and this is just for me, like I 100%, like I'm not trying to discount. I think Michigan absolutely has a better team than Penn State does. And they performed stat-wise very, very well this week. But again, 10 penalties for 85 yards on Michigan is something they'll have to cut back on coming into the next week. Each team only had 1 turnover, but like for the first 3 quarters, Michigan could not move the ball anywhere. Like they couldn't move the ball. They were not getting anywhere. Indiana was stifling them. And then like in the 4th quarter, Michigan looked like Michigan should. Corum started doing well. McCarthy started doing well. They were just rolling. Everything was clicking. They were good to go. We were rolling on. But yeah, but that's where I'm worried. Like if it takes to the 4th quarter for Michigan to perform at the level they should, they will be down 38-0 by the time they get to Penn State next week. So that's just what I see.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I could absolutely see Michigan coming out next week and beating Penn State 38-15 or whatever. I don't know. I could see Michigan clapping them. Mm-hmm. But with the way they're performing right now, I have to look at how they've executed. And if Michigan comes out next week, starts out on fire in the first quarter, they will continue that and they will roll to a victory. But I don't see that happening right now. I would absolutely love to be proven wrong. I like Michigan. Got a lot of respect for Michigan. They're an awesome team. But yeah, they have still, even ever since the Iowa game, I know I picked Iowa to beat them, and I know I picked them to win this week. But they are still, they're proving me wrong in the sense that they're winning, but they're still leaving me a lot of reasons to worry about them. You know, in the when you get a sense to the top of the Big Ten, you can't just, we just got it done. We got the win. We got the win. Yeah. You can't just get the win. Like, these wins are earned anywhere in the Big Ten. Michigan had to earn it this week, and they did. Respect Michigan. They earned it this week. Absolutely awesome win for them. Undefeated going into Penn State, hosting Penn State this week, and that's going to be a tough game for them. USC continues things rolling, 6-0 in the Pac-12. Them and UCLA are popping off right now, so I'm looking forward to that game. College football actually matters in LA now because, frankly, both LA NFL teams suck. So, you know, you only got college to worry about right now. And the Lakers suck. Yep. Sorry, guys. The Lakers just suck. So, yeah, LA college football for once is the hot sport down there.
Shocking.
I know, right? Ole Miss. It was a slow start. Very slow start for Ole Miss. They were down at halftime, but turned on the gas with 35 unanswered in the second half. Awesome game for them. Ole Miss. You got to be careful not to get vision towards that Alabama game, because I know that's what you're hungry for. But Ole Miss is 6-0. They are rolling, and Alabama's got a real tough slate coming. You got Tennessee, you got Ole Miss, you got Mississippi State still on your schedule coming up. So I would be real scared. But Ole Miss looking really good. That SEC West is tough this year. And
yeah, it is.
And Alabama just got a tough draw of it. So UCLA and Utah. Here's one I picked right last week. UCLA.
Yeah, you did.
Gets the big win, moves to 6-0. Definitely didn't see that one coming, but hey, it's college football for you. You never know who's going to win. Dorian Thompson-Robinson with a huge game, four passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown for the UCLA quarterback. Cam Rising, still a very, very solid game. You know, he had 287 passing yards on 23 for 32 attempts, 13 rushes for 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, these were two teams that both played pretty well, and the better team won. This is exactly what I want from my good college football games. And it's exactly what I got. Yep. So, awesome game here. This was a lot of fun. I didn't get to see a lot of it, but, you know, just like the Pac-12 and the Big 12, both sides like to score a bunch of points, and that's what happened. So,
yeah. Total yards was really close.
Yeah, total yards, 479 for Utah and 502 for UCLA. The big difference maker, surprisingly, UCLA didn't get killed by their own penalties, 11 for 68. But yeah, I don't have a lot else to say about this one. This is what I meant at the start of the show. Like, a lot of stuff just kind of went the way we thought it would. And there's not a lot to talk about once you get to that point. So, you know, when the team that's, the ranked team beats the unranked team. Cool, moving on. Like, you know, upsets are fun to talk about because you can pick apart mistakes and stuff. But in the end, you know, when the good teams win, the good teams are winning. So, what else we got here? Kentucky continues their slide down the totem pole. Another tough loss here to South Carolina. I want everybody to put some respect on South Carolina here, moving to 4-2. South Carolina's got a really solid team, and for them to walk into Kentucky and win this week is a huge win for them. Moving to 4-2. South Carolina will probably go bowling this year. I think they still got a couple easy games. I know they got Vanderbilt on there, Missouri on there, so a couple other easy wins for them coming up. I'm not going to pick apart this one too much because it was a low-scoring game. But South Carolina gets a big win. Everybody in the SEC is looking pretty good this year, so decent. Everybody in the SEC is decent this year, so that's a lot.
This is, I mean, the SEC has always, you know, been up there, but this is kind of what I'm calling kind of the year of the SEC in terms of, I mean, there's a lot, especially when there's a lot of teams like Kentucky and Tennessee and other teams that like weren't really considered before. I mean, even South Carolina at 4-2. I mean, a lot of these teams, like, you know, like they've had, you know, historically been good, or maybe they've had a couple of good seasons here and there recently, but, you know, I never thought Kentucky was going to be doing as well as they were. I would never have picked them to be ranked 13th or anywhere else for that matter. Any other position, higher or lower. I mean, you can look at, so many teams. I didn't think that UCLA was going to be doing that good. I didn't think that NC State was going to be doing that good. Just various teams that are just, this is why college football is amazing. All these teams are absolutely playing their hearts out and are showing, hey, we can compete. And I love it.
Absolutely. And just something to think about when I say the SEC is decent, like Missouri obviously gave Georgia a heck of a game, only lost by 4, but they could come out next week and get beat by 55 by Tennessee. Like, you never know when you're going to get somebody's best game in the SEC, and it's just awesome to see. What I do like about the SEC, especially when it's like this, is everybody just beats each other up, so nobody's great. As long as Georgia comes out on top, I'm cool with whatever happens to the SEC. That's cool. Go Bulldogs, baby. Let's
Fair
go.
Enough.
NC State beats Florida State.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs, baby. They got that dog in them. NC State gets another big win. I'm not going to talk about it this game. Low scoring, kind of a defensive battle here. NC State won, but they already lost to Clemson, so there's not a lot of hope left for them. So they'd have to win out, and I don't even think they can go to the ACC championship because them and Clemson are in the same division. So NC State season's already done. Yep. They lost to Clemson, so I'm not even going to talk about them. Wake Forest, I don't think their season's done, though. They got another big win here. Nobody expected them to lose to Army, but Wake Forest, if they win out, I think they've got North Carolina coming up, and that'll be a tough game for them because North Carolina's looking really hot. But one of those teams is probably going to get to lose to Clemson again in the ACC championship. So not a lot to talk about there. I'm going to keep on rolling here.
Nope.
Notre Dame's turning things around. I'll give them that. Big win against BYU here. So, Notre Dame's looking a little bit better. They're still not good. They're still not great, but they're looking a little better. So shout out to Notre Dame for that. Moving on to America's Game of the Week. This one, okay, I watched most of this game. This game was so much fun to watch. I'm sad that Kansas lost, but what I will say, and I respect the AP poll a lot for this, Kansas lost but didn't move at all in the new rankings. They just stayed at 19. So I'm super, super happy for that. I don't know. The one tough thing is I don't know when Jalen Daniels will be back. It was tough to see him go out with an injury, but Jason Bean did show up and did play well. 4 touchdowns on 262 passing yards. But for TCU, man, Max Duggan and Quentin Johnson are the real deal. I wouldn't be shocked to see TCU beat Oklahoma State this week. I think that one is going to be that's going to be what Texas Oklahoma should have been this past week, which is just like 55-49 win. Like everybody just scoring a bunch of points. It's the whole just folly of offense. It's crazy. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts from you on this one?
No, just it was a good game. I didn't get to catch much of it, but props to TCU for coming out strong and playing really well. And Kansas they gave them a run for their money. And had a slow start in the beginning. They only had 6 points getting ready to go into halftime. But a 21-point third quarter, man. If they had just been able to do a little bit better on defense, they could have had this game. So both teams looked really good. And like you said with AP poll, props that they actually did something right for once. So
yeah, absolutely. Because I watched some of the first half of this game and I was like, dang, this is really boring going into halftime. It was 10-3. Nothing was happening in this game, but they turned it around. Everything looked good. So yeah, TCU, big win here. Kansas, you guys still look really good. I think if Jalen Daniels hadn't gone out, you might have won this game, but you kept it close. So awesome job. That was so much fun to watch. Kansas State wins a trash can of a game. Big defensive battle here. Kansas State moves to 5-1. Washington loses again. This one was interesting. I didn't see this one coming. So Washington loses to.
Pretty shocking there.
Yeah, Washington loses to a 1-4 Arizona State team going into that game. They're 2-4 now. Tough game to watch in terms of that regard. But yeah, Washington still doesn't look bad. They still don't look bad. I think they'll still give a good game to a lot of Pac-12 teams, but they're out of the conversation now. The conversation, the Pac-12s come down to USC, UCLA, and Oregon. Those are your big three this year, and they're the only ones that have any shot at the playoff left. So, and I think you could probably take Oregon out. Actually, lost to Georgia, but who knows? Mississippi State, huge win. And again, I'm going to say this every week until I get proven wrong. Mississippi State, if their passing attack is on, they are going to win these games. And Will Rogers, I set like the SEC record for passing yards or something this week, I think. Something crazy like that.
Really?
Yeah, something insane. Like Will Rogers is crazy. 395 yards, 3 touchdowns. Awesome game from him. Arkansas, every year, Arkansas does this, and then they just go all the way down to, and they are the trash can of the SEC as always. But Mississippi State, I love seeing the Mississippi teams doing really well because, frankly, when we get to the end of the year, that Egg Bowl is such a fun game every year. So when both teams are good, that's going to be so much fun to watch. We'll see how everything shakes out.
Yeah, I agree.
Mississippi State, another team that's got their eyes on Alabama. Everyone's got their eyes on Alabama. So we'll see what comes of that one. And then Cincinnati, struggle bus is a win against South Florida. Okay. I mean, you should have won by more. South Florida was 1-4, now they're 1-5. You barely beat them. I don't know what to say about this one. Cincinnati, tough game there. Let's turn our attention to the new rankings that came out after week 6. Moving on here. We got a new number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Georgia takes back that number 1 spot. Ohio State moves up to the number 2 spot. Alabama slides down to number 3. I'm totally fine with that because Alabama did not look good in that Texas A&M game. I think, this is one of the first times where the team won, but the committee looked at their performance and said, let's move them down a little bit. They weren't better than these 2 teams. So I got a lot of respect for that one there. Clemson takes the 4th spot. I think that's a smart move as well. I think they're outperforming Michigan by a lot right now. Michigan, though, staying at 5. They're still in prime position. Tennessee up to 6. So we got number 3 Alabama versus number 6 Tennessee this week. The winner of that game, I think they're just going to flip-flop at that point. So we'll see who can take over that spot there. Ole Miss and Penn State rounding up the top 10. UCLA moves up 7 spots. TCU moves up 4 spots. Mississippi State moves up 7 spots. And then Texas joins the rankings. I didn't talk about, Texas, Oklahoma. I'm just going to talk about this real quick because this game, I loved this game because Oklahoma is the biggest losers of the Big 12 right now.
Losers.
You guys are horrendous. How do you get a 49-0 bomb dropped on your head? Oklahoma, I'm convinced they've given up on the season. I'm convinced they don't care anymore. Like, they are 3-3. They've had 3 straight losses and 2 straight ugly losses.
What is that Oklahoma passing?
They gave up. They don't care anymore. They do not care anymore.
Hold on. Okay, 6 of 12 for 38 yards with an interception. 1 of 1 for 3 yards. 1 of 2 for no yards. Not sure how that even is. Okay.
They were just trying.
With an interception as well.
Yeah.
0 for 1, and then a 1 for 1, but it was negative 2 yards. So they ended total 9 out of 17 with 39 yards and 2 interceptions as they're passing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think you could put me in the NFL and I would do better.
I swear. No.
I'm sorry. I'm not a quarterback.
Yeah.
We could put.
Can I play quarterback for Oklahoma next week?
My grandma in.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Let's just put Mimi in. We'll put my grandma in.
Mimi would actually get a touchdown probably. Like
she would. She would throw a 65-yard bomb. No
absolutely.
Doubt.
Easy.
We need to clear this garbage off the screen because I cannot believe that they went through 1, 2, 3, 4 with 5 quarterbacks and you only got 39 yards.
Again.
I'm done with
you that. Can tell they were just trying crap at this point. Also, see, here's the thing, right? If you put Mimi in, it's a competitive game. You put Papa in, it's over for Texas. Like they could just be like they would lose 65
for sure.
Easy.
For sure.
What I will say though, again, if Texas didn't lose Quinn Ewers, they would be number 1 and they'd be undefeated right now. I'm just saying, okay? Quinn Ewers is that guy, pal. He had 4 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson had 2 touchdowns. This team was insane this week. So Texas,
they popped off.
This is very bold, but I could 100% see Texas running the table at this point. If they continue to perform like this,
really?
Absolutely. I can see Texas running the table. Quinn Ewers is looking awesome. Bijan Robinson's looking awesome. Oklahoma, they almost got 200. They got 195 offensive yards. Yay! You did something. Nobody cares. Texas got 490 more yards than you. 390 more yards. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Look at the first downs.
34 first downs to 11 first downs for Oklahoma. What even is this? What is this?
Time of possession wasn't too far off.
Yeah, Oklahoma just didn't do anything.
Time of possession wasn't too far off, and fair. And I mean, and the penalties, at least those were close. I mean, there's a couple things if you want to try to make it at least find a little bit of a ray of sunshine for Oklahoma. There's a couple small things, but other than that,
they're in the race.
When I saw that score, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah.
Especially with everybody's been hyping it up like, oh, it's Red Wolf Revival. It's amazing. Oh, it's gonna be such a good game. Whoa, and then that happens.
And most years it is a good game. This year Oklahoma's just absolutely garbage. This might be the worst Oklahoma team I've ever witnessed. One of them, at least.
It's pretty bad.
And then just finish up the top 25. Illinois and James Madison rounding out the top 25 there. Purdue got 34 votes.
Put Purdue
Boilers. Put Purdue in. Let's go.
Purdue in. Purdue deserves it.
And then, like I said,
not really, but
like I said, huge shout out to the AP poll. This is the only time I'll ever shout them out. Kansas lost and they kept them right where they are. So I'm more than happy about that. I could have seen them dumping Kansas out, but no, they kept Kansas in there. I'm really happy about that. We got a little something fun I want to do for this one since we are now halfway through the college football season. How about we power rank our college football teams? What do you think? Who's the contenders?
Ooh.
Who's our conference contenders, divisional contenders? Who's looking good? Who's looking bad? We won't do every team. I don't know. Oh, here we go. There we go. We're done. Colorado, absolute worst team in college football. The only winless team I think in college football right now. They are awful. We're just going to kind of start. We're just kind of going to run through this a little bit here. Florida Gators, I think you're average, maybe above average some weeks. I'm thinking average for Florida.
Put him at average for now.
I'm thinking, Missouri, you know what, Missouri, I will give you average for how you played against Georgia. I will give you average for playing against Georgia. I will give you that. Oregon State, I'm a little biased. I love Oregon State. I think they're very underrated. I'm willing to give them average. I think Oregon State's average. I'm just saying.
Sure. I was either going to put them there or bottom of the conference, so either one.
Here, I'll pull up real quick some of these teams' records just so we have them on hand and we're not being oh, I think they have 2 wins or something. I don't know.
Fair.
Texas A&M, be record-wise they aren't, but I think they're above average. I think Texas A&M is very much above average. Okay, Oregon State's 4-2, so I think average is fine.
Okay, so they're yeah.
Wake Forest. I do want to look and see if they're in contention for the ACC championship. They're not. So NC State and Wake Forest have both already lost to Clemson, so they've basically locked up that they're not going to get in. But I would still say Wake Forest is at least a divisional contender. Wake Forest looks really hot. They just can't go much farther because Clemson already beat them. So that's really unfortunate for them. South Carolina's above average, 4-2. They just beat Kentucky. So that's really cool for them. We're just going to move that there. Next we got Arizona State. We got Vanderbilt contender. Wow, look at that. Vanderbilt. Woo! Yeah, we love that. Right down here. There, You know what? Honestly, no, I'm going to move them here because I'm going to put Arkansas here. Vanderbilt, I think, is better than Arkansas.
Fair enough.
I'm totally cool with that.
I'll give that.
Arizona State, you're 2-4, but you just beat Washington. I'm going to give you I'm not going to give you anything for that.
Average.
Arizona, you're down here. Auburn,
Yeah, down there.
Yeah. Alabama, playoff contender. No, Alabama's down here. I'm sorry. I want to get that right. Alabama is bottom of the conference. No. Alabama, playoff contender. Absolutely. Baylor, I don't remember where Baylor's at right now. They're 3-2. They were off this week. I think Baylor's better. I think Baylor could be above average for right now. They could move up there, but I think
they're looking good.
They're looking good, but I think those two losses aren't great. But they've lost Oklahoma State and BYU.
Are they in the divisional contender category? We put them there.
So the Big 12 doesn't have divisions. So I mean, Baylor in theory. Who does Baylor have left? Let me pull up their schedule for us real quick so we can take a look at that. They've still got Kansas, TCU, Texas, and Kent. They've still got a bunch of big teams. So if they win out, I mean, they will go to the Big 12 championship. So I'll put them up here. I'm willing to put them there. Divisional contenders. I'll put them there. Or, okay, here. Conference contenders, since they don't have divisions. They have to go there. I think I'm okay with that.
That works. Yeah.
Boston College, you're trash. Cal, I don't know. I think Cal's okay. Cal's 3-2. I'll put you at average. Cool with that. Clemson, you are a playoff contender. Absolutely, yes. Clemson's a playoff contender. Duke is above average, surprisingly.
No. That they're a playoff contender. Put them up there.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. Sorry, Austin. This is football, not basketball. So I need to make that clear.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. See, and even then they're above average. So good on them.
Yeah, above average. Yeah.
Florida State, you're above average because you can't win your division, but you're still looking really good here. Georgia, you're a playoff contender. Absolutely. Georgia Tech, 3-3. Surprisingly, I'll give Georgia Tech average here.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'm down.
Illinois, you are a divisional contender right now. Imagine saying that a couple years ago. Divisional contender. Indiana, I would love to put Indiana above average. I think they are, but realistically, they're average. Iowa State, you're average. Iowa, you are bottom. Kansas State is above average. Kansas State divisional contender, frankly a conference contender.
Yeah.
Because the Big 12 is still pretty wide open right now. Kansas, absolutely a conference contender. Kentucky, you fall into average. You're above average.
Yeah, above average.
Louisville, you are absolute garbage town. Absolute garbage town, horrible. LSU, I said it. LSU's average.
Yeah.
Maryland, you know what? You just lost to Purdue. You don't get above average anymore. Sorry, you're average. Miami, you down.
Trash.
You down. Miami's garbage. Michigan State, garbage. Absolute trash. Michigan, you are a playoff contender. Absolutely. Minnesota, you are a division contender. Absolutely. Mississippi State, you're a division contender. NC State, I think, is a division contender. Or did they? Oh, no, they took the L to Clemson. So, yeah. Nebraska, garbage.
Your dog water.
Nebraska is dog water. Where's Nebraska at right now? What's their record? Let me look at their record real quick.
Nebraska, I think did they just win?
Yeah, they did. They're 3-3. They just won. They beat Indiana and Rutgers. Wow, big whoop. So I'll give you average because Northwestern's below average because Northwestern's
okay. I'll give that.
Notre Dame shockingly is average. Surprisingly.
I'll give it.
Ohio State. Not only am I going to give you contenders, I'm going to put you at the top of the list right now. I think you are the top team in the league right now. If you really want to make it interesting, we'll throw them there. And yeah, we're cool with that right there. Perfect.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State. Bold.
I would agree.
Playoff contender. Absolutely.
I agree. They are looking dangerous.
We're gonna do this real quick. If it'll let me. Oh, I can't edit this one. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Cool. Sounds good. Oklahoma goes way down there.
Yes, just keep it like that.
Yes, I am actually going to keep it this way. Oklahoma stays down there.
They are so bad.
I'm going to shift Ole Miss. I got to move up the screen a little bit. Ole Miss, I'm going to go bold. I'm going real bold here.
Really?
I'm going real bold here. Okay. Look, Ole Miss is looking really good.
You know what? Hey, you know what?
What?
I'm going to make kind of a... I'm not going to say a bold prediction
Okay.
per se. I'll put a bold potential prediction.
Okay.
I think, and this is definitely a possibility in my mind, I could see a world where Alabama does not make the college football playoff.
Oh, 100%. Easy.
I can see it where I think it's going to be between potentially Ole Miss, now that you put it there.
Yeah.
I also think Tennessee is the other team that I'd be really watching.
Yes. I think Tennessee beats Alabama this week. Like, that's my pick.
I agree.
That's 100%.
Okay, so we're both on the same page.
Both on the same page, yeah. Well, some people might yell at me for that, but you know what? I'll take the hate. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oregon, you guys are up here in conference contenders easily.
Yep.
We're going to delete that row and delete this row just because it's crowding my screen a little bit. Penn State, you are a conference contender. I'd even go with both. I'm going to leave you in conference for right now. I don't think if you beat Michigan this week, then you move up here. But for now, you can stick in conference contender.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They haven't lost anybody yet. I think they're absolutely a conference contender. So,
fair.
Yeah. Okay. Here, we'll make it a little realistic right now. We'll make it a little bit more fair. They're a divisional contender. They could easily win the division.
Well, especially just because of, I mean, look who's in.
Yeah, they're there with Michigan and Ohio State, so it's tough. But
exactly. It'd have to be both of them, and
absolutely.
I think at most they'll get one. So
for sure, I'll agree with that. All
right. Who's next? We got Pitt. Is that next?
Pitt's above average. I don't think they're quite in contention to win their division. Purdue's above average, surprisingly.
You better put them in the college football playoff, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right. Yeah.
Purdue is above Ohio. Yes. Purdue.
Yes.
Purdue beat Ohio State in previous years, so we're going to keep them there. That's official right there.
And frankly, Purdue theoretically has to go here because they beat Minnesota.
Yeah, they did.
They've still got Illinois and they've still got Wisconsin. So I'm putting Purdue there. They are a divisional
contender. You're not wrong.
They just are. Like that's how it is.
Wrong.
Rutgers is below average. Stanford is below average. Syracuse is above average. TCU easily a conference contender. Contender. Tennessee, here we go. Tennessee is yet another playoff contender up here. I would probably put them here right above Ole Miss. So it's awesome to see. I respect that. Tennessee looking real good. Tech, you guys are average. Texas Tech.
I'd put above average.
Yeah, I would almost be inclined to go above average. They are only 3-3 though, so I would.
Yeah, but in the games they've played have all been close, and they've done a good job. So
yeah, that's fair. I'll give that one to you. Texas is a conference contender right now. Frankly, Texas is a sleeper to win that conference, 100%.
Yep, I agree.
UCLA. Oh boy, here we go. UCLA is a conference contender. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll need to see some more from them before I move them higher. North Carolina is a conference contender because they're leading that division right now. So I think North Carolina has to sit there. 5-1, undefeated in ACC play. SC is easily a playoff contender. Easily a playoff contender for SC right now.
USC is looking hot right now.
USC is looking real good right now. Utah, it's unfortunate for you guys. I think you have to move down to above average now. I don't think there's any hope for you guys to win because, there aren't any divisions in the Pac-12, so you guys are kind of out of it. Virginia, I don't know where you guys are. I think you're maybe average. Let me double check real quick. Oh, no, Virginia sucks. Sweet. We can put them there. Cool. Virginia Tech also sucks. We can put them there. Washington State, for your upset, you guys get to go up here. You guys get to be above average. Better than we expected you to be.
Yeah.
Washington's above average, but you guys went from divisional contenders down. You're sliding real fast.
Yep.
West Virginia, you guys aren't very good. You're average. And Wisconsin is bottom of the conference. Surprisingly.
Yep.
Surprisingly. Wisconsin, you're 3-3. You're looking bad. Sorry. Here, we need to put this down here. There we go. And you down here. And you down here.
There we go.
Is that fair? Is that fair? Miami, Miami sucks. I'm cool with that.
That looks better.
So There we go. Perfect.
Trash can garbage waffle.
I think that's 100% fair. What do you think? I like it. So yeah, the worst of the worst. Fair. The worst of the worst. Oklahoma, Colorado. Yeah, Oklahoma and Colorado are on the same tier. Fight me.
Yep.
But yeah, we got 9 playoff contenders still. Frankly, more than that. We got a lot of people.
Dude, if Kansas somehow gets into the college football playoff, I think the world's just going to explode. I think like time will stop. Like Jesus will come back. Like that's just how it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, your college football playoff is going to be Ohio State, Tennessee, Kansas, and Georgia. Or no. Ohio State, Kansas, Tennessee, and Clemson. I said it. There you go. Could you imagine?
Wow.
Could you imagine? No, I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Well, here's what's going to happen.
Right.
Is Kansas is going to win the whole thing, and then
they'll just go down as the greatest team ever.
Yeah, we're golden.
Exactly. We're golden. Free balls.
Yeah, free balls. Yeah,
we're golden. Balls, dude. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, there is our tier list for who's hot in college football right now, and
who's not,
and who's absolute trash can, garbage, horrible, awful in college football right now. I am more than okay with that, and we are gonna save and download that image because
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. Those teams at the very bottom, those teams right there are just Joe Biden of college football teams.
Facts. I'm 100% okay with that. And the top
they're just
the contenders are the Trump tier, the absolute greatest, the best teams ever, the absolute greatest college football teams ever seen, probably the greatest people in the world.
I mean, hey, the way that Oklahoma's passing was in their game against Texas, I mean, they're looking kind of like Joe Biden out there, kind of, looking around like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this thing that's in my hand.
Where am I? Where are my players? What am I doing? Where's my chocolate chip ice cream? Where? Yeah. Anyway, sorry guys. We're not getting political. Anyways. We're not political, obviously. No, we're not. No. We are sports journalists. Okay, we're not political around here. Anyway, moving ahead, week 7. This is going to be a lot of fun because there are some hot games this week. We're going to start out with one that's not very hot. Auburn and Ole Miss. Ole Miss only favored by 15. I think is a crime. I think this reaches Ole Miss Vanderbilt type games where Ole Miss wins by at least 21, if not more.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it was at Auburn, even with Auburn not being that good, I could see it kind of being a little bit more like close, like I can see why they would do that. But with it being an away game for Auburn and with how good Ole Miss is, like that's just sad to see. So I'm 100% with you. Ole Miss wins it. I'm saying I'll go ahead and I'll say the minimum is going to be 15, if not higher.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Honestly.
Absolutely. Ole Miss disrespect.
The over-under is 54.5.
Yeah, Ole Miss is going to score 49 of that, at least. So
yeah, exactly.
So I don't know what they're thinking. Vanderbilt at Georgia. So Vanderbilt, no, I'm kidding. Georgia is going to win this one. They're favored by 38. They're going to win by at least 38. So Georgia's going to. Georgia has entered the trash can part of their schedule, as I like to call it, because all they have left is like Florida. No, they have Tennessee left, I think, at some point. So they've still got some tough games there, but Vanderbilt, they're going to walk over easily. Our sleeper for game of the week, Oklahoma State and TCU. The over-under is 68.5. I think they more than blow that out of the water this week. These are two very high-powered, very capable offenses. I don't know who I want to pick here. I really don't. I'm picking TCU. I love Oklahoma State. I love Oklahoma State so bad, and I want them to win so bad. But I think TCU is riding a wave of momentum we haven't seen in years since the first iteration of the college football playoff, and I think they continue riding that. I'm going to go bold and say TCU wins by a field goal.
Wow. Man, it's hard because I have good reasons for picking both teams here.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think the big kicker for me, one is as you mentioned, the massive, just wave that they're on right now, but
Yeah.
also because it's a home game for them. I
Yes.
think that stadium, I mean, it's been rocking these past couple
Yes.
weeks, and I think it's gonna be no different, especially with a big time opponent like Oklahoma State. So
Yes.
I think that home field advantage plays a key role. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a good game. I think Spencer Sanders is going to absolutely pop off. But I think in the end, TCU is just going to have a little bit too potent of an offense for him and is going to take care of business.
I love it. I like to see it. Clemson at Florida State. This will be a close game. This will be a close game, but I think Clemson's going to pull it out at the end. Not a lot to say.
Yeah, I'll agree with you.
Big noon Saturday, Penn State and Michigan. Fox continues to dick ride Michigan and take all of their games for Big noon Saturday. Look, Michigan's the safe pick here, but this is their first big test, and I haven't seen enough for me to be able, for me in good conscience, to pick Michigan to win here. I have to pick Penn State. I know Michigan's probably going to win, but I have to pick Penn State here, just because, if Michigan wins this one, I'll start picking them. But I'm picking Penn State here. It's going to be close. It's going to be a close game throughout, but I'm picking Penn State to win.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. I mean, and honestly, I mean, even part of me wants to pick Penn State here just because of how good of a team they have. But for me, it's kind of like it is with TCU. I think with it being at home, I think that's really going to help Michigan. I think they just, they have a solid team. Both teams are really good. I think that's going to be a really good game. But I'm going to have to give the upper hand to Michigan.
Absolutely. I'm fine with that. Kansas at Oklahoma. The fact that Oklahoma's favored by 9 is a crime, but that's only because they're at home and it's Oklahoma versus Kansas. Kansas is winning this one by a lot. Like, let's be honest, even with their backup quarterback, Kansas is winning by a lot. Oklahoma has given up on the season. That performance against Texas was atrocious at best. Kansas wins. Go ahead.
Oh, wait, well, hold on a second. I want to talk about this real quick.
Yeah.
Here's one thing I will say.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, I think there is the possibility that they were going to come out really pissed off because they got blown out of the water.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that that's actually going to happen, and Kansas is just a better team. So go Kansas.
We've also said Oklahoma is going to come out pissed off the last 2 weeks, and they came out looking like they just said piss off. Look at they just said piss off to the season. So they're done.
Exactly. I mean, they had like 39 passing yards, so that's not gonna
get you. Absolutely not. Iowa State and Texas. Texas gets another huge win here by at least that 16.5 margin. Texas is rolling and they keep it going.
Yep, I agree.
Minnesota and Illinois. Illinois is looking hot. Minnesota's looking like they cooled down a little bit. Minnesota's favored here, but I'm honestly going to pick Illinois. I'm going to pick Illinois to win here and move to 6-1. I think Illinois is just the better team, and I think Minnesota is kind of falling apart a little bit. So I'm picking Illinois.
Yeah, I agree. They're falling apart, and again, I mean, home field advantage is real, especially when you start getting into the Big Ten play.
Yes.
And I think Memorial Stadium is just going to be a little too much for Minnesota. So.
Absolutely. NC State at Syracuse. This one's a toss-up for me because Syracuse is undefeated at home. Is undefeated and they're playing at home. I'm gonna go bold and pick Syracuse here.
Really?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I feel good about Syracuse in this one. And NC State has been barely winning any of their games they've won. So I'm picking Syracuse here. I'm in an upset. They're favored, but I'm picking an upset.
Yeah, honestly, dude, I got to agree with you. I mean, playing in the Wireless Dome, I mean, it's loud, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, NC State, they play in a division that has a lot of tough environments to play in, but I think this is a game that Syracuse, can definitely win. So I'm gonna pick them as well.
This isn't basketball, everybody. We're picking Syracuse to win in football. James Madison against Georgia Southern. I think James Madison's going to win this one, but Georgia Southern always gives teams a good game. But I think James Madison wins this one. I don't know anything about him, so I'm moving forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Mississippi State at Kentucky. Kentucky's sliding, and I don't think they get it back together here. I think Mississippi State wants Alabama bad, and they're going to keep it going this week.
Yep, I agree.
And
got
they
that
get to
dog
play
in 'em.
after the Alabama-Tennessee game, so they're going to get to see the result of that before going in. So that'll be a lot of fun. USC and Utah. Surprisingly, Utah's favored in this one. I honestly can't believe that. I don't know
Wow.
where the USC disrespect is coming from here, but I'm going SC to win this one. If UCLA can beat Utah, USC certainly can.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
And then, of course, game of the week here, College Game Day is going to be here. Alabama walking into Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know what 70% of people are smoking on this one, picking Alabama. Yeah, it's a safe pick. Whatever. No. Tennessee is winning this game. And I don't want to sound like one of those Tennessee fans like, yeah, Tennessee's back. We're better than... They just clapped LSU at LSU. Sure, LSU's on a down year, but that is one of the hardest places to play in college football. Like, Alabama looked really bad last week, and they're gonna come out firing on all cylinders this week. Nick Saban is gonna get his guys together, but frankly, I think Tennessee at home, that stadium is going to be going more nuts than it already is and already does, because that stadium goes hard every week. They are going to be going insane this week. This is a 3:30 on CBS. You already know SEC on CBS is the most hype thing ever. This is going to be, I'm going to say this is going to be the best SEC game of the year, and we haven't even seen half of them yet.
Wow.
Tennessee is going to win this game. That is a very bold take because we got a lot of good ones coming up, but Tennessee wins. Tennessee win is my pick.
Is Bryce Young, is he back from being injured?
He suited up last week, and I'm surprised he didn't play because they said he was going to play, then he didn't. So I expect him to play this week.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I figured.
My sources at Alabama are telling me that he's going to play this week, so I would expect him to suit up.
I mean, it doesn't matter if Bryce Young is playing or not. We saw Alabama struggle against a pretty good Texas team.
Yes.
And they've had some other games they've struggled. I mean, we just saw them almost lose to Texas A&M, which they should have lost.
And you can't blame that on quarterback play because their backup quarterback did really well. So
I know exactly. I mean, as I said, regardless if Bryce Young plays or not, I mean, we've seen Alabama in close games against good opponents or at least decent opponents. They haven't been looking as good as they have in the past. They're on a little bit, even though they've been winning, they're on kind of a downtrend right now. Tennessee has all the momentum. It's in one of the greatest stadiums and hardest places to play in college football. Neyland Stadium is just a different type of loud, and it's absolutely insane. Yeah, I don't think for me, it's almost a no question, in my opinion, that Tennessee is going to win this game. I think that there's a little bit of doubt just because it is Alabama, and Alabama is a really good team. But Tennessee is riding all momentum. They're at home. It's crazy. It's loud. And this is one of the best looking Tennessee teams I've seen in a long time. So I'm not sure what the spread's going to be, but I got to pick Tennessee as well.
Yeah, Alabama's favored by 7.5 in this one. That's what the spread is. And then if you look at Alabama's schedule, their toughest opponents, are Texas and Texas A&M, and they barely beat them. So Alabama has not looked good against good competition this year, and then Tennessee is going to take advantage of that. So, Tennessee gets a big win here, and you already know Tennessee is eyeing that Georgia game. That is what they're looking towards. So, but Tennessee gets a big win here, and probably moves into the top 4. I don't know when we start getting college football playoff rankings. I think that's after week 8. So I think we have this week and then one more week, and then we start getting playoff rankings. So we're just going to do a quick little look ahead to week 8. I just want to see what's coming up for that week because that's when we're really going to get into like playoff rankings. So UCLA, Oregon, Texas, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, LSU, Syracuse, Clemson, Kansas, Baylor, Mississippi State, Alabama. Ooh, wow. Okay. Mississippi State, Alabama, Kansas State,
Penn State.
Yeah, there's going to be good games that week. So this is one of the games I'm looking towards, Mississippi State and Alabama next week, or in a couple weeks. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey,
yes.
Who does Purdue play this week?
Oh, I completely forgot to look. Let me look real quick. Because I want to see who Purdue plays this week, just so we know. Wisconsin, Michigan State. Imagine having that being a game this week and nobody cares because they both suck. That'd be a lot of fun. I think Wisconsin wins. I can't pick Michigan State in good conscience.
Yep.
And Purdue gets Nebraska at home. That Purdue wins. Purdue better win. I could see Purdue losing, but Purdue better win. Purdue better win. And then, Maryland and IU. Who knows? Flip a coin, heads, tails. Indiana wins. I don't know. Sure, why not? I don't care.
I'll pick Maryland just because you picked IU. I'll just pick the other side of the coin.
Sure. Oh, and I'll pick Nebraska because you picked Purdue. So no, I'm
Okay,
kidding.
fair enough.
I'm kidding. Purdue wins, obviously. Yeah, that's gonna be it for the college football this week. Week 6 in the books. Week 7 is gonna be super hot fire. I cannot wait. I won't see a lot of games after work, but I'll be following on my phone. But so you already know it's gonna be a lot of fun though.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be following too. It's gonna be a good weekend.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. As always, you guys know, like, subscribe, go check me out on all the podcast platforms if you want more content. Or if you don't, too bad, we're making it anyway. So because we don't care about haters or doubters. All right, get them out of here. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. We don't care about them.
Out.
That's going to be it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Austin, thank you so much as always for joining me on the podcast this week.
Man.
We will be back later this week with the NFL podcast, of course. We got a lot to talk about, as we always have a lot to talk about. And then, as always, college football, keep your eyes to your TV screens. It's going to be a lot of fun this week. So that's going to be it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great week. Peace out.
Peace.